All right, let us look into the text. Vishvedevas. So we had Ashwins first, then we had 3 verses to Indra, and now we are coming to Vishvedevas. And I think Vishvedevas are giving us more scope for kind of action of all the gods, of all cosmic gods. I think it's a kind of widening the scope of Indra's action. It's always after the concrete action of consciousness that they kind of fashion or follow up. This is the right word. They follow up the major change or the major action of the gods. And this follow-up means widening and finding for every different deity and involvement and activity in kind of refining that action or settling it down or transforming. And here we have the same. There were Ashwins, Indra, and now Vishvedevas. And we can read immediately, we will have this sense of them working as for this purpose. O masas charshani dhritach Vishvedevasa agata Dashvanso dashushach sutam. O fosters who uphold the doer in his work. Charshani dhritach. Charshani is literally, Charshani is the one who works, the worker. Dhrit, holder. Dhritach is plural, holders of the worker, of the one who does the sacrifice. So basically, they are the holders of the sacrificer, the one who does the sacrifice, the soul, our soul. And omasas, it's also an interesting word. Oma means from root u, actually, the friend and helper and protector. And Sri Aurobindo gives even more to this root. This root we are using in this tanmama avatu, tadvaktarama avatu, avatu. Root av is from this simple root u, which means to protect, and not only to protect, but to increase, to grow, to make grow and strengthen. And by that growth and strengthening, to protect. Yeah? And that is important notion. Protection through growth and strengthening. Not protection as a separation from something, from danger, but from making us able to overcome any obstacle. That is the protection. There are 2 types of protection which are mentioned in Sanskrit, in Vedic literature. One is raksh, rakshati, that means to scare away, to scare away the forces which are attacking. And other is pati, and it would rather mean to fill with strength. Yeah. So this is rather this type, omasa, to increase the strength, to increase the ability, and by that to protect. So they are the protectors in sense of increases of our capacity, the holders of the worker, of the sacrificer, the doer of his work, the all gods. It is their purpose, basically, to uphold our sacrifice. Come here, and then come to what? To the soma, of course, wine, sutam, which was distilled, that I distill, Sri Aurobindo translates, come and divide the soma wine. Dashu amsha. Amsha is a division, or how to say, the portion, the drop, the portion of the soma wine. Of the one who is dashushach. Dashuch, dashus, is the word which means the sacrifice, the giver, of the giver wine, yes, dashushach sutam, of the giver distilled delight. So the giver distilled his delight, prepared it for the higher consciousness, and gives it to this higher consciousness, to these Vishvedevas, the cosmic powers of consciousness, of a higher divine consciousness. And
may I ask a question?
yes, please.
The Vishvedevas, do they have there's some quality of a group, of being a group consciousness with Vishvedevas, or many individuals? Because I mean, are there individual devas that are collected, or is it more like a kind of something that happens when everything is combined?
Right. Basically, why they are mentioned in the group, it is Vishva, actually it is all, yes, all gods we can translate, but also Vishva can be translated as the cosmic, yeah? Vishvam, yes, Vishvam is the cosmos, not only all is cosmos, yes, everything. So in this group, whenever we have hymns to Vishvedevas specifically, we will have mentioning of all the gods, all major gods, Indra, Ashvins, Agni, all of them will be there. Yes, I think that when this category comes in, it is in the time when there is kind of a common action in the sacrifice of all the gods, according to the part they must take. Yes, and that's why this sharing of the soma juice, the portions are already assigned to all of them, and they will get one by one their portion of this delight. Once they are all partaking of this delight and participating in the sacrifice, it gets a new quality. It becomes adopted, so to say, to this cosmic movement and its value in the cosmic sacrifice. So to say, it's no more individual action, it's no more some change in consciousness or some removal of the obstacle. It's no more that what we are calling Indra for. We are calling Indra for this action, to make a change in our being, in our self. And once this change is taking place, once the action of Indra is taking place, then it has to be, adopted or assimilated into the cosmic movement by all the gods. It has to be agreed by all of them that this change is, so to say, written down into the book of the cosmos and accepted by all the movements, or so to say, they all have to come and to partake of this delight. So that means they all agree to this action. And that would mean a big shift, basically. It means it is accepted.
Can I read what Sri Aurobindo says about them, which is very, very similar, almost exact what you're saying, but in just slightly different words. On page 87 of The Secret of the Vedas, he defines his thoughts around the Vishvedevas. And he says, it's been disputed whether these Vishvedevas form a class by themselves or are simply the gods in their generality. I take it that the phrase means universal collectivity of the divine powers. For this sense seems to me best to correspond to the actual expressions of the hymns in which they are invoked. In this hymn, they are called for a general action which supports and completes the functions of the Ashvins and Indra. They are to come to the sacrifice in their collectivity and divide among themselves, each evidently for the divine and joyous working of his proper activity, the soma, which the giver of the sacrifice distributes to them.
Right.
So that's pretty much exactly what you were saying. It's interesting is, later in the Puranas and all, they play a very different role. They're more known as individuals within a very small collective group. So That's what was always kind of confusing to me, is trying
Yes.
to reconcile the two.
Right. It's a good point. Shobindov, of course, is very logical and very clear. I was trying to figure out from the common sense of this, from the background what I have in reading of these godheads. But what I figured out also is that I always thought it is a specific class, the same as Maruts or Rudras or Vasus. But now I understand that they are not a specific class, but they are a specific state of the action of these godheads. So it's a collective action of these godheads, rather than a specific class of godheads, kind of separate from Indra and Agni. They include Indra and Agni and Ashvins. They include all of them. But now they will be doing something together after the major change is taking place. So they will be kind of taking this, it's a follow-up, if you like.
Vladimir, do you think that it's possible that that little invocation, Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, that kind of thing is referring to the Vishvedevas in that case then? Let us all be together, let us all partake.
There is something more to that Sahanavavatu. It's a bit different in a sense because there is dual used, yes, and dual we too. May he grow us, avatu, us together. May he enjoy us together. Who are these two? May we too produce virium, this power. May we...
But maybe not the Vishvedevas and us, and me. Vishvedevas and me.
Right, Vishvedevas and me. I will tell you what I was thinking about these us two. Who are these us two? I thought it was inner and outer consciousness, or inner being and outer being, if you like. Consciousness I like more. So to say, my inner soul perception and my outer being, so to say, body or embodied perception. These two perceptions have to be harmonized, and they have to be accepted and supported by the all gods, if you like, or by the divine. May he protect us together. So who is that he? No, because it is one, it's not many. It is him, the only one, yes, who protects and...
Okay, so we're in a different category, different...
Right, Vishvedevas are always many, and they have to be many, because, and it is also interesting, they have to take a portion, as you see, of this delight in their particular order. So to say, they create the order of the action, involve this change into the cosmic activity or into the cosmic movement of things, yes. They make it a part of the universal activity. And in that sense, of course, it's a big shift.
You know, what's interesting, Vladimir, is that the same Rishi, Mandu Chanda, is the Rishi of the Om Sahana Vavatu prayer, which closes the Rig Veda, closes, the 10th volume. It's slightly different if you read that very last hymn, but it's the same thing, to unite our heart with our thoughts.
Right.
Now Vavatu, and it's the same. I'm pretty sure it's the same Rishi.
Okay, but the unity hymn, the last one,
Yes.
Samjnanam. Oh, this is Samvanana Angirasa Rishi. It is different Rishi. But if it is that hymn, Sam Samidyuvase Vrishannagne, yes, this one. Sam Gajjadvam, Sam Vadadvam, Sam Vomanansi Janat. This is a famous hymn of unity, the last one. And of course, the idea of unity is there, the same. But there is no Saha we too. There is no we too. It is about all of us, May our minds be together, may our hearts be together, may our words be together, hearts, yes, and that is something to the whole humanity. Here with the Sahanavavatu is a very cryptic mantra, very unusual in a way, and very difficult to understand, by the way. But sometimes you have glimpses, and there, if you analyze very carefully this Sahanavavatu, one by one, so to say, line by line, you will see why they have this kind of order of things. We can do this once. We can take this mantra separately, and we spend some time. You will see very beautiful, beautiful picture of the sacrifice. Yeah.
You're saying that's different than the unity mantra at the end?
No, it is more individual in a sense that it's about inner and outer consciousness of the embodied being. Here it is go together, speak together, you. It is to you. It's like a message to humanity or something.
You're saying Sahanavavatu is different from Samgachadvam.
Yes, yes. Because grammatically different. It means different thing. So to say, if I translate Saha, now we two. We two together, may he increase us together. May he enjoy us two together. Why us two? Why this us? You see, two, not many, not all. Here, all, it's to all. It's the third person.
Meaning this verse, or you mean Samgachadvam?
Oh, sorry, in Samgachadvam. I'm showing the book which is in front of me. I'm saying here, and you don't see it. Yes, right. But the idea of unity is unique for Veda. We know it, yes, and it is not a simple idea. It is something more.
The dual concept could be the soul and the psychic being in Vinda's terms, right?
Right. I think it is more in those terms. Inner and outer even consciousness. Inner and outer, or inner involved and inner uninvolved, transcendental, if you like. And these two, when they are together, when they are supported by the divine together, then everything happens, everything takes place. But they are split, we don't have them together. Our outer consciousness is separated from our inner. We are not harmonized.
But the Vishvedevas, there's a category of everybody, all the devatas together, and yet there's a hierarchy, and each one has their portion in an order,
Right.
which is presumably hierarchical.
Right.
So I'm just trying to wrap my mind around the concept of together in the way that the Vishvedevas are. There's a category of devata, which is everybody together.
Right.
And I guess I'm thinking, why wouldn't you just always call to the Vishvedevas if they're all together and they're already taking their portion and they're already coming at their proper time and all of that? Why wouldn't you always just invoke Vishvedevas? And yet, we find way more Agni, way more Indra, etc.
Yeah, well, why don't we immediately start with follow-up? Because there is something fundamental is to be done, some shift, change, some particular work, some particular shift, particular event, and that particular event is assigned to a particular devata. And Indra will do this work very well, Maruts will do that work very well. And then we can have Vishvedevas kind of assimilating that action into the cosmic. Because when they come to assimilate it and it is not done, the shift is not taking place, the change is not there, then there is nothing to assimilate. There will be the whole old world without any shift or change or sacrifice. So
So anytime you see Vishvedevas invoked in Rig Veda in any verse, then you're kind of getting the feeling that there's been something,
right,
some huge transformation in consciousness that enables the sacrifice.
right. Or it is a general invocation for the welfare of the whole cosmos or all humanity. Then they can be invoked directly, yes? If there is no particular action to be done. So
I see.
kind of, Shanti Patha of some kind,
Yes. Okay, I get it.
It's my impression. By the way, I do not know totally, but that is the impression I get from the texts I read, that they are always there to do this assimilative work of something which already took place. Or then, if there is nothing, then that would mean something generally good, in general, very good to invoke them.
This is Purnavasu, isn't it, Radhe?
No, the Vishvedevas?
Yeah.
No. They're, is it Shravana or, no. Punavasu is a deity. Uttara Ashada.
In the Veda, Vasus can be also the same way as Vishvedevas, yes? They will have a particular function, gods. Agni can be Vasu, Indra can be Vasu, any god can be Vasu. Because gods are those shining beings, or those the carriers of that light of consciousness, yes? And that light of consciousness has to be kind of brought into our lower hemisphere, into our lower consciousness. So Vasus would have that particular also sense of involvement of that light. So once the gods are involved in the sacrifice, becoming part of this movement, so to say, working with the yajamana, with the soul, the sacrificer, with the dashus, with the one who gives the soma, then they become vasu. That's why Agni is totally vasu. And vasu is an interesting word. It is from the root vas, to shine and to dwell. And Sri Aurobindo translates vasu is as luminous dweller within the substance. Luminous dweller. So when gods are kind of involved and dwell within the substance, then they become vasus. And Vishvedevas are never dwelling and never becoming dwellers within the substance. They are always acting upon the sacrifice from their own domain, so to say, and making it a part of the cosmic movement. Again, it is only a subjective impression from the texts. It may be wrong. My knowledge is also developing in time and changing many times. I'm very surely speaking things, but then I'm changing them. Yes? So be prepared for change.
We're prepared. That's part of the reason I like studying under you, Vladimir, is that you're constantly enhancing and evolving and shifting interpretations and understandings, which is beautiful to see.
Well, it was happening many times, that's why I know it. So I would not be kind of thinking that something is fixed forever or something. And it is also not like that. There is a flexibility which my mind cannot see totally, you see. And it is, I feel the incapacity of the mind to break through to that level. But I feel it is somehow waiting there to communicate in some way. Okay, next verse. Vishvedevaso apturach sutam aganta turnayach usra iva svasarani. O all gods who bring over to us the waters, apturach, come passing through to my soma offering as illumined powers to your places of bliss. Now it's also the same thing which I was trying to say just now before. It usually happens this way. There is a tuning to the text. This is what I wanted to say, only it's in a poetic language, that they bring the waters, the heavenly waters, to us down. So that is their action. They bring the greater cosmic sacrifice, greater cosmic soma, substance, to nourish our being here. So we did some portion of the sacrifice, involved the Indra, prepared our soma and offered to Indra, and the change took place. Suppose we changed our habit or character or consciousness, there was some luminosity, some understanding of things. And now this understanding of things calls for greater cosmic action, where all the gods now, noticing this change, bring their, so to say, portion of their own water, of heavenly waters, raining upon us with a abundance of some kind of, yes, nourishment, with some kind of, there is another word which Shrivinda is usually using, with this kind of richness of heaven. And that is what they are doing. They are not dwelling here, but they are bringing that cosmic action down into this individualized sacrifice, which is now no more individual. It is becoming part of the cosmic activity.
It's really interesting. I'll just mention it to Julia real quick, is that as you're reading this, Purva Ashada is the waters, the cosmic waters, and Uttara Ashada is the Vishvedevas.
Interesting.
So they come together in the sky under Ashada too. So anyways, I never made this connection before, so it's interesting as you were reading it.
Of course, yeah, you're looking through Jyotish.
Well, it just kind of dawned on me as you mentioned the waters, and it's like always trying to relate things back to, or at least I am, to Jyotish.
Me too.
Right. So, and yes, and as illumined powers to your places of bliss, Svasarani, Usra. Usra is also an interesting word, Usraiva, yes, as these rays of light. Or sometimes they are compared to the dawns, to the cows, even the dawns, as if dawns in their own, so to say, movement. Svasarani, svasara, literally, it's their own movement, or even stables. But these are the places of bliss for the light, where the rays of light rest. This is the Vedic symbolism of the cows and stables and so on.
So those places of bliss can be any place that where the light, any condition that the light dawns in an individual moment, in any life where there's the condition of luminosity in your day, in
right.
your life, in your any time that happens, that's the gods delivering.
Yes. Yeah, sorry, I just want to see one more turna, because this is there is some meaning in it, which is turni, most probably quick, simply anxious, clever, expeditious. This I just had to confirm.
So it could be any minute, any moment where that bliss and that light comes, any moment. That's where the gods have delivered some soma.
Right. The beauty of Sri Aurobindo's translation, he is always doing these things For example, he puts for turnayach, for turni, come passing through, passing through. And this passing through is nowhere confirmed, and there is no in the dictionary. It is just quick and so on. But he takes it from the root tri, turnaya, which means to cross over. So they are crossing over the spaces which are not suitable for the sacrifice. They are reaching out from their place to us with their waters of heaven, bringing to us, notice, again, up turach, again, tri, bringing to us these waters from above over the spaces which are not suitable for the sacrifice, so to say, reaching out to us over the spaces, bringing it here away from their place in order to create something within this separated being here, away from the source of heaven, their own heaven, their own svasarani, yes, their own stable for the light, as the illumined powers to your places of bliss. It's compared as if you return to your home, as if it is your home, though it is not. And
well, the places which are not suitable for the sacrifice, are those places of just separation then? Just a place of duality?
right, it is separated being here, which is doing this sacrifice in order to invoke these Godheads and make it, this place, himself, his consciousness, suitable for heavenly consciousness. And they are reaching out and they are coming and they are bringing their heavenly treasures, their rain, their soma, with them, and create within this being a kind of heavenly place. So there will be a change or transformation of this being. That is the sacrifice. That's why Usrayeva Svasarani is mentioned, Eva, the word Eva, as if, because it is not. And we have to keep this in mind. That's why Sri Aurobindo puts all these words, come passing through what? To my Soma offerings. Why through? Just think about for a second. Through to my Soma offering. As if there is a distance, yes? And that distance has to be crossed. That distance is not a direct connection. The very rivers which are coming from heaven, they are also streams, currents. And these currents also are crossing over the space, yes, bringing their heavenly waters into our place, which is separated from heaven. Or chariot, also with chariot we are rising to heaven. There is always, or gods are coming in chariots also. What does it mean they come in chariots? Because there is a space, a separation which they have to cross. There is always this crossing, traveling, reaching out, because there is.
But they're motivated to do that, right? They
right.
want. I mean, as much as we want them and we want what they're bringing, they want something from us also, right? They want. There's a pull or a something here that they're motivated to go through themselves in order to do that, right? Or
right. They do that because there was a change already. Indra made a change before. We can also go back and see what Indra did. Indra did a change, real change within the consciousness, and Indra was invoked to do this change by the soul, by the human being here, individual, so to say, was doing this invocation and offering his delight to this devata. Once it was done, it is kind of flashing out and giving a sign to the cosmic action of all the gods. They already see that it takes place, and then they kind of rush onto it with their own treasures and their own delight. And and there's something more happening afterwards. Yeah.
Can I
But
ask
that crossing over, I guess it would. Sorry, Radhe, I just
No, that's okay.
that passing through, that crossing over, that
Right.
there has to be. I mean, the work has to have been done first, but there's something that impels them to cross, right?
Right.
Delight.
Right. Delight, and there is also already a decisive change. It's not just first offering. It's a follow-up. So to say, they already see that the change. That's why they can come here, because Indra is one of them, is already kind of active here, actively involved. So he opens the door for all of them to make it orderly, or to involve it, or to incorporate it into the cosmic activity. Before it was only individual activity, individual change, so to say, offering, which took place. Yes, there was a change, yes. And it could stay on that level, by the way. It would not be necessarily that they have to come. We have to also want this to be completed in the cosmic transformation of our consciousness. So to say, our individual transformation may be enough for us, and we don't want cosmic transformation. But if we want to go farther than that, then we have to invoke them, so to say. In Sri Aurobindo's terms, it will be first transformation is psychic, individual, and second is this spiritual transformation, or cosmic, as he calls it. And for that we need a widening of our individual consciousness. And this widening is happening through Vishvedevas, I think. Heightening and widening of our consciousness, which is already true and discovered as true individual soul consciousness. Yes? In this case, it is the event, the sacrificial event, which is already taking place, and it can be taken up, heightened and elevated and widened and incorporated into the cosmic consciousness activity, become one part of that movement of cosmos. Otherwise it can also disappear in its own kind of individual activity, become valuable only for oneself. It's a very common sense thing, I think. Yeah? There's nothing illogical here. Anyhow, this crossing over and making home for themselves in our home, separated home, is that transformational activity. That we become for them a home, for the cosmic gods, for the cosmic consciousness. We are already their home here. And that means a big change. Okay, I will go to the next. I can read my interpretation, of course. Yeah, you see, Svasara is Svasara, one's own resort, a stall, fold, home, nest of birds, also interesting, nest of birds. That's exactly that, kind of.
Get the birds all in one place, for God's sake.
All the eggs. Right. Then the last one of the Vishvedevas, Vishvedevaso asriddha ehi mayaso adruhah medham jushanta vahnayah. O all gods, you who are not assailed, nor come to hurt, free moving in your forms of knowledge, cleave to my sacrifice as its upbearers. Now it's a shift of already they have to bear or to carry the sacrifice, the activity, in their own fashion, in their own way. It's no more my sacrifice. It's already their activity. So asriddhach, not assailed, and adruhach, no come to hurt. Yeah, adruhach. These are common adjectives for the gods in the Veda. They are not hurting. They are not here to destroy anything. They are here to refresh the true activity of consciousness and not to destroy. Some of them do this when they are mentioned. For example, the dawn and the dawns, when they come, they are not coming here to destroy. They are refreshing the truth. That's why they are adruhach. But some of them are not adruhach. Some of them are here for destruction. Indra, for example, he will destroy many things, remove many enemies and darkness, but not them. Indra already did his work. They will not do this. And they cannot be altered, they cannot be assailed. Asriddhach, you cannot attack them, you cannot make any obstacle for them. They cannot be obstructed. And ehimayasa is a very interesting word, and I wrote it down here. They think that it is for ahimaya, that it is a mistake. But I'm not sure about this. So maya. Maya is an interesting word. It is the creative power, the creatrix, from root ma, to create or to measure out, yes? Later this maya becomes an illusion, but in the Veda it is a creative power which is acting on the level of overmind, between supermind and our lower hemisphere, so to say. It is that place where all the formations of our world take place. And Sri Aurobindo translates it as free moving in your forms of knowledge, which is very intuitive. Notice, free moving ehi, from root e, to move, the imperative second person singularis. So go or move or come. Come, creative force. It is their name. May creative force come. It is one name of these godheads. So with the creative force moving, free moving in your forms of knowledge, for Sri Aurobindo Maya is also knowledge, the power which creates forms. It knows how to create it. Cleave to my sacrifice. Jushanta medham. Medham here he takes as a sacrifice. Jushanta, be happy, literally. Happy of my medha. Happy of the sacrifice. Or agreeing. Sri Aurobindo translates cleave. Beautiful. So, cleave to my sacrifice. Vahnayach. Vahni is actually Agni, flame, and also bearer, from root vah, to bear, to carry. Carry up, usually. Now look what Griffith does. The Vishvedevas, changing shape like serpents, that is Ehi, he takes as Ahi, as the serpent, as a snake. It's all that problem with interpretations of the Western scholars. They change words, and they think that Brahmins couldn't really, maintain their meaningful tradition. So they distorted the text. Now they have to reconstruct it, and they try to reconstruct as many words as they can. So here they do the same kind of thing. They take Ehi as Ahi. So like serpents, changing shape. Changing shape, Maya. and A he takes for Ahi, fearless, bearers accept the sacred draught. Accept, yeah, it's closer to the dictionary. Accept or agree to the sacred draught. Okay, that's basically it. We can see that there is a shift in the attitude. They are becoming the bearers. They are invited to be the bearers of the sacrifice, and they are coming with their Maya, creative force, reshaping our being here and consciousness. Free moving in your forms of knowledge. Beautiful.
So Ahi, we don't accept any.
Well, why should we change the word? It is a bit the last thing to do. Yeah? If it doesn't fit into grammar, we do not know many. You see, Rigveda is a unique literature. You know, in every hymn you will find one word which is met only once in one hymn. Look at this. Ehimaya is written, Rigveda 139. It is our verse. You will not find anywhere else this word.
Ehimaya.
Only in this hymn, only once. Not in Taittiriya Samhita, nowhere else. So Rigveda is full of these words which are met only once in one particular hymn. Sometimes 2-3 words in one hymn. And what shall we do with all this? We don't have any other usage or any other example to compare or something. But I would not.
So obviously they're using a particular word to point to something very specific in the functioning of nature.
Right, and they are very flexible. If we study this grammar, Vedic grammar, we will see that they create words in a very flexible manner. They have a different attitude.
It's always very specific, isn't it? I mean, that creation.
Right.
It's always very, very. There's a reason, a specific reason why that thing came together in that way.
Right, and I would really like more Sri Aurobindo's offering here, free moving in your forms of knowledge, because it makes sense when they come with this freedom to move in all forms of knowledge. They can adjust our consciousness to this cosmic movement. They can do reshaping. They can reshape our knowledge here into another symbols and another way of thinking and so on. They can create a mind, an instrument for us to understand differently ourselves and the world. So this free moving in your forms of knowledge becomes very suggestive of what they will do or may do with us, with our offering. Rather than moving like serpents without any meaning, you know. Why serpents? Just like that, because the word is reminding Ahi. But that is not enough reason. There is no reason behind this change. Yeah? And serpents are actually very specific in the Rig Veda. They are not on the divine side. Ahi itself is an enemy of the gods, so it may create only confusion, you know. And Ahi is from root also Ahi, to become narrow, narrowing down, so to say, consciousness. In that sense, I would not go in that direction. Anyhow.
Would you say that the Ahi are obstructors?
Right, rather. They are obstructors, or they are narrowing and making our consciousness not free, kind of.
Well, it already says they're not come to hurt. That these Vishvedevas have not come to narrow. They've not come to obstruct. They've only come to
right.
create
Exactly.
a flow.
Exactly. And since the word is not ahi, I would not change it. I would rather change no word in the Rig Veda so easily, because it doesn't fit into some grammatical understanding of the scholar. All right, we will take next. It is 3 verses to Sarasvati. Sarasvati is a very unusual godhead. Sri Aurobindo speaks about supramental word activity, yes, the action of the word. And here we have to also look into that, what is this word about and why it is so important for the rishis. Yes. For us, word is only a token for the mind, for the thought, but for rishis it is an action of consciousness which creates ideas, creates thoughts. It is a creative power. It's not a token for an idea, but it is a parent of an idea. Yes? It brings new names, new movements of consciousness here into the lower hemisphere as a current, and establishes new possibilities. And in that sense, it is the last in this hymn. Pavaka nach Sarasvati Vajebhir Vajinivati Yajinam Vashtu Dhiyavasuh. Interesting. May purifying Sarasvati with all the plenitude. This is the word I was looking for, plenitude, which they bring from above. And she brings with all the plenitude of her forms, notice beautiful, of plenty, rich in substance by the thought, desire our sacrifice. May she, the current, the supreme current of that creative consciousness, desire our sacrifice. It is after the action of the Vishvedevas, after them picking up and holding and bringing up our sacrifice as theirs, she has to look upon it and descend to it with her desire of this happening. Purifying pavaka, vajebhih, vajinivati. It's also interesting. Vajin and vajini is actually from root vaj or uj, the strength, ojas from here. Ojas as a power within the substance. Yes. Also, it is the mare, vajini. Vajin is that the horse, the movement of the plenitude, the strength within the substance, but divine strength. So she is the mistress of this divine strength. May she come with her movements of this divine strength to our sacrifice, yajñam vashtu. May she want it, wish it, like it, desire it, dhiyavasuh. And dhiyavasuh is also an interesting word, rich in substance by the thought, Sri Aurobindo translates. Again we have vasu here, and he translates it as rich in substance. Sometimes he translates vasu as the dweller, luminous dweller within the substance, and here rich in substance, very, very close to the same meaning. Dwelling and substance, substance and light together by the thought, dhiya.
It occurs to me that Saraswati and Vasu and Vastu, they're all, it's a characteristic of being established. The others are invoking and transforming and changing and coming and bringing down, and then once you get to Saraswati, then what we're maybe thinking in terms of having all that luminosity of consciousness firmly established. So it doesn't recede, it's established.
Yes,
Doesn't Saras mean flowing?
right.
I mean, it dawns on me that maybe it's the waters. Maybe the waters that the Vishvedevas bring, that we mentioned a couple
Mm.
verses ago, they're bringing the waters, the flowing waters. They're bringing Sarasvati. I always say Sarasvati, so this is going to be hard to switch it,
Mm.
but Sarasvati. I know, it's like when you learn something for 20 years, it's like, oh dear. But anyways, yeah, it was dawning on me that it might be the waters, the connotation of the waters that we spoke of earlier too.
Yes. Actually, you see, there is a shift. I think there is a shift in the quality. It's a higher level. Sarasvati is from Saras, from this flow, but she brings the current of a higher consciousness, higher than Vishvedevas did, higher. Though sometimes she is included, as all the gods are included in this cosmic action of Vishvedevas, but here she is specifically mentioned after Vishvedevas. Notice, Indra was before, then Vishvedevas kind of took this as a follow-up, increased the action of the sacrifice, carried it on the cosmic level, and then Sarasvati is invoked to like it, to want it, and to come with her plenitudes now. Maybe to increase the activity of the Vishvedevas, it's also possible, to increase the substantial contribution of Vishvedevas. It's also possible. But Sri Aurobindo also mentions in his notes that it is another level of the conscious activity of the supermind. Okay, this is only in an invocation verse. Now there has to be an activity, some change, and then there has to be final activity, or concluding thought. Okay, Chodayitri Sunritanam Chetanti Sumatinam. Here it comes already. Yajnam Dadhe Sarasvati. She, the impeller to happy truths. Here it comes. The impeller, Chodayitri Sunritanam. These happy truths usually are dawns. She's the impeller of these dawns, which are coming and dawning on us, the higher consciousness onto our physical. Chetanti, the awakener, Sumatinam, of the consciousness to right mentalizings. It is Sri Aurobindo's language, but Sumati is the realization of higher mentality, of luminous, perfect mind. A perfect mind already on our level, so to say, in the lower hemisphere. It's a transformation of the mind, where the mind becomes luminous. It's not that transcendental mind. It is our mind here, Mati, but perfect, perfected by a higher consciousness. That is the transformation she causes. Yajnam dadhe Sarasvati. Sarasvati upholds our sacrifice. Here is the shift, quality shift. She already holds the sacrifice. First we invoked her, now she holds and transforms our mind, our ordinary thoughts into perfect thoughts. She brings or impels the happy truths of those dawns, dawning on us from higher consciousness, and awakens in us these perfect thoughts, mentalizings. Right, and the last verse, and this has to be significant or conclusive. Maho arnach Sarasvati prachetayati ketuna dhiyo vishva virajate. Here it comes, virajate. Sarasvati, by the perception, awakens in consciousness the great flood, the vast movement of the rhythm of the Supreme Consciousness, and illumines entirely all the thoughts. This is the change, which is you see, gradually taking place from Ashwins to Indra to Vishvedevas, and finally Sarasvati can act upon our consciousness. Right.
So it's sequential. You feel like it's sequential?
Yes. Sri Aurobindo suggests this, that it is sequential. He always says that these hymns are very practical, and they are meant to be used for this transformation of our consciousness.
So some, like, it depends on where you're at any moment, I guess, what state your consciousness is in, which one of these verses might be describing or
Right.
illuminating what state your consciousness is in, because this Saraswati state is it's a mighty flood, and it's fully established, and it's every pious thought, which God knows most of us don't have every thought pious.
Right. Far from it. But interestingly enough, that the very idea of this kind of orderly fashion, orderly sacrifice, is important. It is giving us a sense of possibility of transformation of our nature. You see, we lost this even a concept. We don't have such concept anymore. We think in terms of spirit separate from nature, and spiritual life is away from our physical life, and so on and so forth. We don't have anymore in the spiritual traditions. We don't have these ideas of transformation of our physical life here. But for the Vedic rishis, it is essential. It's a central idea. And that's why they always look for this change. That's why there is no mukti mentioned in the Veda. There is no such purpose. The purpose is a transformation of our life, nature. So
this is all mukti, kind of, isn't it?
Right. It is mukti here in the body, not out of the body. Right. And in that sense, when we dwell on these hymns, you see, we spend some time dwelling on these hymns, we will feel that it makes sense. Then, of course, when we don't dwell on them, they kind of fade away, and again they make no sense. But slowly again we are drawn to them, and we spend time dwelling on every word, on every concept, kind of linking them together, and it gives us instruments of understanding of what is being said. I noticed this many times with these hymns. We need time to dwell on each of them, and then to go through them again and see how it flows, and then it will become very clear to us. So to say, we are tuning our instruments of knowledge, yes, slowly, and being tuned by these words and concepts and ideas and presences, it becomes suitable. Somebody asked the mother once, should we read Savitri if we don't understand it? Sri Aurobindo wrote a poem, Savitri, which is very difficult to read. Many people said that we can't understand what he's writing about. And should we read it? They asked. Mother said, yes, you should read, because it creates in you the instruments of knowing it.
Right.
It will tune.
Consciousness is not the same thing as understanding it.
Right. It will create new tunings, or these particular new things which you didn't have by those words, by those concepts, and slowly you will start understanding it. And if we don't do that work, we will never understand it, that consciousness. So that was the Veda also, I think. We have to do this work in order to tune our consciousness to this understanding, and it will give us the light of knowledge then, when we will have these instruments. But before, we don't have them. We start with only intuition or some kind of glimpse, and that glimpse slowly is taken up by Vishvedevas, and then after some follow-up there is a flood of intuition and understanding. Right. Okay, so here we stop for today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Want to end with the mantra?
Yes. Om Vang me manasi pratisthita mano me vachi pratishtitam aviravirmaedhi vedasyama ani sthaha shrutam me ma prahasihi anena dhitena horatran samdadhami Ritam vadashyami, satyam vadashyami, tanmamavatu, tadvaktaramavatu, avatu mam, avatu vaktaram, avatu vaktaram. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.